is a process. I have always said that whenever the veterinary people are there have to be some social workers. The social workers, they will take the farmer through the stage. Like right now, I asked the question that, what was the meaning of brand edge? Because according to my understanding, the zonal brand is mine, then the other one is mine. The third one belongs to who? To the government. Is the government saying that they're going to take away our cattle?
Tota ha ke boela go lapeng ke tabokela thegetse because ke na le bana ke mme ke ntate mo bane ba ke na le bona
se tona ke gore re protecte one mollwane re o sireletse re o phunyegileng teng re go bankanya re tswalle ka go tswalla.
Tonight on the public square, we turn our focus to a crisis that strikes at the very heart of Botswana's rural economy, the latest outbreak of foot and mouth disease. The northeastern part of the country has been particularly affected. Cattle movements have been halted nationwide. Slaughtering has been suspended, even in areas that are disease-free, except Chobe and Ngamiland. Export to the United Kingdom, our largest premium beef market, has been suspended. For thousands of farmers, from communal cattle owners to commercial producers, this is more than a veterinary issue. It is an economic shock. It affects incomes, debt repayments, employment, export revenues, and confidence in one of Botswana's most important agricultural value chains. What does this outbreak mean for farmers on the ground? How prepared are we as a country? And what are the long-term implications for our beef industry and our international reputation? I'm joined in the studio by Judge Mpapi Pumapi, the chairman of Botswana National Beef Producers Union. He just corrected me. BNBPU, to shed light on these questions. Welcome to the public square, Judge Pumapi.
Thank you.
Perhaps let's start here. What or who is Botswana National Beef Producers Union? Are you part of the labor movement or something?
No, we are not part of the labor movement. We are the umbrella organization of associations of beef farmers, cattle farmers, put it that way.
And you probably want to tell us one or two things about the union. How did you start?
Well,
how does one become a member? How does one contact you?
Yes. The National Beef Producers Union was formed in 2013. By formed, I mean registered as an umbrella of associations. It is made up of 17 regions. Mm-hmm. Well, at the time it was formed, it had 17 regions, but it has since grown. I mean, there are more people that have more associations than they originally they were, but so far the regions remain the same, but the associations who are affiliate members have increased. I hasten to qualify that one of the founder members of the association, Khanzi district, pulled out at some point before before I came in as the chair. The reasons for that I'm not familiar with, but that's not what we're about here today.
Good.
But we are in the process of trying to get them back in, and I recently had addressed them in Hanzi.
Okay.
So that we have all the farmers from all regions as part of our union. As farmers, we should speak with one voice.
That's right.
Yes.
No, that is helpful. At least now we know who you are.
Yes.
Now let's get to what brought us here. What is the latest update on foot and mouth disease in our country?
Well, the latest update is that there's been an outbreak in the northeast, as you may well be aware, with confirmed cases of foot and mouth, and it's being addressed by both the farmers and the Department of Veterinary Services. But in the southern part of the country, not really southern, in areas that are not affected, which share a border with South Africa, we're apprehensive that the foot and mouth that has recently afflicted South Africa, or that is currently afflicting South Africa, may cross into Botswana. And if it does that, particularly in the southern part, south of the DBT cordon fence, it will spell disaster to the whole nation, because, as you realize, the northeast outbreak has resulted in the freeze of all cattle livestock movement, movement of all livestock with cloven-hoofed animals, and the Botswana Meat Commission is also closed, pending the further investigation by DVS to see how far the disease has spread.
That's right.
Yes. Once they are satisfied that it has not spread beyond the DVT cordon fence, or even beyond the other this way, coming this way to Abroni, the cordon fence is the other side. That is the Sese cordon fence, Sese Talemavele, the Makoro, Malatswai cordon fence. Then, if they are satisfied that it hasn't crossed into those areas, there is a chance that the BMC may open, and people in other areas like Kgalagadi, Khanzi, and the whole of the southern part of the country, stretching as far as Barlon Farms, Ramotswa, Tokwen, Katleng, and all. Those can open. And if it hasn't crossed the Makoro fence, for argument's sake, those south of that cordon fence will be okay. If it hasn't crossed the Sese fence, those south of that will be able to export, etc., etc.
Good. Okay, we'll come back to that.
Yeah.
It is common knowledge that cases have been confirmed, like you said, in the northeastern part of the country. I think it's zone 6B and 3C.
3C, yes.
Are you aware of any new outbreaks?
No, I'm not aware. But what I am worried about is that is how far the disease has spread. It does not mean, at this point in time, you cannot say 6A is free of FMD. That is the area west of Francistown up to the Talimavele gate on the way to Orapa and so forth. Or for that matter, Zone 5, which is across the Tlhakane area, or Zone 8, which is adjacent to Zone 6, south of Zone 6. So what is critical is that they should establish how far the disease has spread. Yes, that's
Good.
what is critical.
That's right.
Yes.
And we are aware that command centers have been set up in particular areas. Would you say as the union that there is sufficient veterinary personnel and resources that have been deployed to these centers to deal with this problem?
No, far from it. In fact, the veterinary department have declared to us, farmers, that they're under-resourced. They appeal to us, and we have taken it upon ourselves to mobilize our members to try and assist in the curbing of this disease.
I mean, vaccinations already are ongoing in the affected zones. Now, you just said you've taken it upon yourselves
Yes.
to do certain things
Yes.
to deal with this problem, because the Department of Veterinary Services says it doesn't have the resources. Are there adequate vaccine supplies available, or are there shortages?
It is not an issue of vaccines. Vaccines, I imagine, since we produce the vaccine here, I imagine it is available, but what is lacking, what is the real problem is that all the cordon fences need to be up and be repaired, and to make sure that livestock movement is properly controlled. That is where the farmers come in. They should head their cattle and make sure that they know where they are, they remain in one area, and they should also assist physically those who are near those cordon fences, and they should also we have created a fund, opened an account where we are appealing for assistance from our members and from the general public, because even people without cattle are affected. They eat meat, and we are appealing to the whole country to assist in the control of this disease. Those who can't provide labor physically, they could contribute in some other way. They could like the businesses that normally sell fencing material, if they can help with fences to make sure that the fences are up where we need them, we would highly appreciate that.
But whose responsibility is it to maintain and mend the broken fences?
Well, until now, the responsibility has always been with the Department of Veterinary Services. There were crews that were regularly patrolling the fences to make sure that if there were any holes, they closed them. But over the period, maybe the next 5 years, the last 5 years, I don't know what has happened to those crews. It's now really up to us, the farmers, to make sure that those cotton fences stay intact if we...
So the farmers then are on their own?
Well, we are working in collaboration with government. It's just that, you know, the story now that the government is bankrupt.
Yeah, because I'm just thinking and I'm saying to myself, if that is the case, then, I mean, it's only commercial farmers we can afford.
No. Far from it. Well, define your commercial farmers.
Well, farmers who have many cattle, who can sell their cattle or even participate in the export market, like yourself.
No, that is completely wrong. As farmers, we own cattle. Some own 10, 20, 100, 200.
I own 10.
Yeah, you see? But of those 10, you can actually sell one and contribute. You can afford to do that. In order to protect the remaining 9, out of which you might be able to sell 3 and sustain your family.
Good. Okay,
Yes.
let's pause it there, Judge Pumapi. Thank you very much for watching the Public Square. Today we are in conversation with Judge Pumapi. He's the chairman of the Botswana National Beef Producers Union. And we are talking about the outbreak of the foot and mouth disease. On the other side of the break, we will continue our conversation. If you are just joining us, we are on the Public Square. Today we are in conversation with Judge Mpapi Pumapi.
That's much better.
He's the chairman of the Botswana National Beef Producers Union. And we are talking about the outbreak, the latest outbreak of foot and mouth disease. Welcome back, Judge Pumapi. I don't know, should I address you as Judge Pumapi or Justice Pumapi?
Whichever one you prefer.
Okay, thank you very much. Tell me, Judge Pumapi, how concerned should farmers in the other zones, besides, of course, 6B and 3C, how concerned should they be at this stage?
Very concerned. In fact, I dare say the whole country. Because we don't know how far the disease has spread. We are just waiting to hear from veterinary what they have come up with. If it has been arrested within those zones, then the concern would be to keep it there and fight it there and prevent it moving to the next, to other zones. And this prevention comes in the form of complying with the veterinary protocols, like dipping for our feet when we get to cotton fences, and our vehicles, and also not carrying any meat from the affected areas out into the other zones. I mean, even when the other zones open, once the veterinary department is certified that other zones should open, meat can be carried into to the affected zones, but not the other way around. The idea is to keep it there and assist veterinary to fight it there and eliminate it.
That's good. And what would you say has been the impact of the current outbreak, economic impact that is on beef producers in the country?
Oh, the impact is massive because, as you can guess, cattle, I mean, farmers sell their livestock on daily basis. That is how the butcheries are able to run. That is how the BMC is able to run. And even our weddings, those who don't have cattle, they buy cattle for such occasions, funerals even. So that has affected the industry massively.
And in terms of the export market, would you say they are at risk?
Well, the export market, yes, it is at risk because if you think of the EU, they are very particular about the type of that they don't buy meat from foot and mouth endemic areas like Ngamiland. They buy from what are called green zones, which are free to sell there. But even then, there are certain regulations that those in those areas have to comply with. There has to be traceability that the animal was born and bred in this particular holding, and you can trace it back. In other words, they do things in such a way that you have to account where they just don't want to buy the meat which they don't know where it comes from. So it has been affected. So it is very, very important that to emphasize that the experts
right. And you may just want to mention whom we are referring to as the export market, which countries or part of the world?
Well, largely is the EU, but the EU, because I suppose from colonial times, when Botswana was still a protectorate, when it was Bechuanaland, as then it was called, the colonial government actually built this abattoir. It was called the Colonial Development Corporation, what you now call the BMC. And then they slaughtered it and sold it to Britain. And but it has since been expanded to other European countries. But then there are other markets elsewhere, like in the Arab world, for instance. China is also knocking at our door. They want our meat. By the way, our meat is the best.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes.
In terms of what?
Jokes aside.
Yes.
It's largely grass-fed. You know, none of those additives, I mean, hormones or anything of the like. So the taste is natural. If you want, I can give you an example. I once went to attended an auction sale in South Africa, somewhere in the area of the Maize Triangle, and there was a nice steer that was being bred there, and we looked forward to enjoying it after the auction. I was surprised when I tasted the thing, just that it didn't taste like meat.
Is it?
Yes, because if you stuff the animal with maize, for instance, to feed it from when it was small, it doesn't get
The quality of the meat is affected, yeah.
yes. So
That is interesting. Earlier, Judge, you mentioned traceability.
Yes.
The ability to be able to track
yes,
these animals. I was reading in one of the local newspapers this morning as I was preparing for this show. And one of the veterinary officers was saying they're actually experiencing problems with traceability because farmers don't use ear tags. How as a union, can you assist in that regard?
well, we encourage our members to take the animals and brand them. There are zonal brands. There are also brands belonging to the farmers themselves, and traceability. Part of it is that you have to keep records of what you are producing, and then they have to be certified by inspected and certified by vets, so that if they come from a particular holding, it being a farm or just a kraal, they can be traced. You register that kraal, and they can be traced back to that kraal. Even in the communal areas. It's just that a lot of a lot of farmers find that to be a bit too much for them, to be keeping records. They're used to just letting the cattle go out to graze and come back, bring them back, and then whenever they want to sell, they take it, track them or transport them to where they want to sell them. But that situation is no longer applicable because the animals have to be tagged. Part of it is to be sure that the animal you are selling belongs to you.
Yes.
If you bought it from somebody, there has to be a record indicating that was transferred to you. In the system will.
Yes, there'll be a paper trail. Yes.
Yeah, there'll be a paper trail. Yes. Yes.
That's good. And some people have said the recurrence of these outbreaks of FMD are becoming frequent, or they might become frequent in the future. What structural reforms, from the point of view of the union, do you think are necessary to permanently address the recurrence of these outbreaks?
No, first of all is to is to make sure that, well, let me say this. The carriers of foot and mouth in the country are buffaloes. Now, this cordon fence, the cordon fences also control the movement of buffaloes. In other words, actually, if you go to Ngamiland, there are areas where there are fences which are meant to keep the buffaloes away from the area where people are farming, because the buffaloes are, they don't suffer from the disease, they are carriers. So it is important to maintain those fences, Also, what is really of paramount importance, because you see the outbreak in the northeast generally comes across from Zimbabwe. And I don't think Zimbabwe, I'm not sure, but I'm not sure that they vaccinate against foot and mouth as we do in foot and mouth endemic areas. So the real answer is for us to have our boundary fences made strong and maintained intact all the time. Because if cattle are able to cross to Zimbabwe, or Zimbabwean cattle coming into Botswana, then there's always a chance that they might bring the disease with them.
Yes. Actually, that reminds me. During the break, you mentioned the southern part of the country.
Yes.
That already there is a scare in
Yes.
South Africa. And what message do you have for farmers along the South African border?
The farmers, in fact, we've got a long border with South Africa. The farmers along the border, I'm appealing to them to make sure that the boundary fences are up. It is normally the business of government, but government has indicated that they're not able to maintain as they used to. But we can't fold our we can't fold our arms and say government is failing, because those cattle belong to us, not to government. Government has the responsibility to protect the industry from the point of view that it is responsible for boundary fences. But we also have to take it as our responsibility to make sure that where there are holes and whatever, we do something about it and we report to the relevant people to keep the disease out.
Good.
Yes.
We are going to take a break. If you are just joining us, we are on the public square. On the other side of the break, we continue our conversation with Judge Mpapi Pumapi. We are talking about the outbreak of the latest outbreak of the foot and mouth disease. Welcome back to the public square. Today we are in conversation with the chairman of Botswana National Beef Producers Union, Judge Mpapi Pumapi. We are talking about the latest outbreak of foot and mouth disease. Welcome back, Judge Pumapi.
Thank you.
When we went to the break, you were actually talking about the situation along our boundaries with neighboring countries, Zimbabwe, South Africa. What message do you have to our compatriots who live along these long boundaries with our neighboring countries?
The appeal I'm making in fact, this is not only to people who live along the boundaries. It's anybody who goes to the border. My appeal to all but all the people who go to the border for any reason at all. One, to use gazetted points of entry or exit, entry into Botswana and exit out of Botswana. Two, to make sure that they do not break the fences in order to get out of the country or to bring whatever they may want to bring into the country. Three, to make sure that they report any holes in the boundary fences that may let animals in and out of Botswana. They report any places where the fence is down, so that to the relevant authorities, so that they can be attended to. The option of the only way to deal with the threat we are expecting from South Africa is to keep out that the disease, because if it comes in, then the whole country will be affected, because the only abattoir that slaughters livestock in the rest of in this part of the country, other than in Ngamiland, it's Botswana Meat Commission. Because once there is an outbreak, it closes like it is closed now. I also want to appeal to them to understand the purpose of this current shutdown of the BMC and restriction of animal movement from zone to zone or to different places. Understand that in the context that the veterinary department is trying to establish exactly how far the disease has spread, and once that has been established, the movement will be allowed again. Hopefully, it won't take too long for that to be achieved.
Very well put. Thank you very much for that, for what you have just said. Now, what lessons, especially from the point of view of the union, does this outbreak expose about gaps in our preparedness as a country when we are faced with a disaster like this one?
Well, let me digress a bit.
It's okay.
Before the discovery of the diamonds, the only foreign exchange earner was beef.
Yes.
And the disease was controlled rigorously. But once the diamonds were found, the focus shifted. But let me not be misunderstood. The focus shifted to the diamonds, and the regular, rigorous effort to ensure that foot and mouth did not spread was a bit relaxed. We didn't have these frequent outbreaks before that. They were really limited mainly to the areas where there were buffaloes. But buffaloes were largely kept in the game reserves, so that they were not allowed to wander over the country. But now, what has happened is that the elephant population has been allowed to increase, and elephants now are even in areas where there used to be no elephants.
Even right here where I come from, around Mulepolole, there was a report of a roaming elephant
In Zwelithab.
in Cheleta.
or something like that. So this is because they just became too many. They always were culled, and the culling stopped over a number of years. And the elephants are also responsible for breaking the fences. Yeah, because if you wanted to go and see elephants, you just go to the game reserves where they were not, which were not a hunting area.
Yes.
You can see them anytime you feel like. But now, until we can make sure that we restrict them to the game reserves, then we have a problem. We'll continue to have this problem. Yes.
I guess the same applies to buffaloes.
Buffaloes, yes. But yes, the same applies to buffaloes, because when the elephants break the fences, the buffaloes easily find the holes. They can go through as well.
Yes.
But ordinarily, buffaloes don't break fences. They're easy to control. Yes.
The problem is the elephants.
Yeah, the elephants will put it down anytime. Yes.
Very well. Now, your message to farmers who are frustrated right now and financially strained, because as you said earlier, whether you are a butchery owner or you're just an ordinary farmer, you cannot sell your cattle, you cannot slaughter a cow for a funeral or a wedding. And what do you say to those? How do you comfort them?
Well, my only message, which I hope will bring some kind of comfort, is to appeal to the veterinary department to act fast so that these restrictions can be lifted and people can start living their normal life and relying on their livestock for income.
That's good. Perhaps we can end it on that positive note.
Yeah,
I don't want to spoil it for you.
Yeah. Yes.
Very well. Foot and mouth disease is not just a veterinary concern. It is a national economic issue. For many rural households, cattle are not simply livestock. They are savings, security, status, and survival. Each outbreak tests not only our animal health systems, but also the resilience of our agricultural policy, our trade strategy, and our capacity to respond swiftly and transparently. The challenge before us is clear. How do we protect farmers, safeguard export markets, and strengthen biosecurity without paralyzing the entire value chain each time disease strikes? This conversation must continue in policy rooms, in farmers' associations, and across government. From all of us here at the Public Square, thank you for joining us. Good day. Thank you very much.
Thank you.